The unveiling of the logo for the Paris Olympics, named the Paris 2024, caused a stir back in 2019. But what's more interesting is that the former coach of the Israel Rhythmic Gymnastics team has now switched sides. In this video, we'll let you know everything about Ira Vigdorchik and her decision to coach Russia's rhythmic gymnastics team after Tokyo 2020, as well as let you in on other Olympic news. There's also an interesting story of how Paris was selected as the host for the 2024 Olympic Games. Stay tuned to find out how the venue was chosen. Firstly, who is Ira Vigdorchik? Before we get to the crux of the matter, let us tell you who Ira Vigdorchik is. Ira Vigdorchik, 57, was actually born in what was previously called the Soviet Union and had immigrated to Israel from Moscow back in 1979 when she was only 15 years old. She coached Israel's national rhythmic gymnastics team from 2008 to 2021, with only a one-year break in 2016. This almost 13-year bond between the squad came to an end when Vigdorchik transferred after the Tokyo Olympics. She has signed up to work with the Russian team instead. This development was confirmed by Vigdorchik herself in a statement. Next, let's look at her transfer. Ira was given the job 10 days ago. She was said to have a close relationship with the Russian Gymnastics Association, especially with the chairwoman, Irina Viner, which held her in high regard. And so it was decided. Vigdorchik will be instructing the Russian squad for the Paris 2024 instead of her original Israeli team after her contract with the Israeli Gymnastics Association, IGA, came to an end. The association was also not surprised at her move and said it was natural. Vigdorchik has stayed for a week with the Russian team a month ago, and it was at that time that the two reached a joint conclusion of deciding to work together. One of her apprentices even commented that Ira was pushed out and had no choice but to get up and leave. Vigdorchik loved Israel immensely and was proud of it, but some things had to be done. The Russians will be visiting Israel next year for the European Rhythmic Gymnastics competition held in Tel Aviv, which will be the first competition they will be trained in by Ira. Now, Vigdorchik's past achievements. In the latest Olympics, Tokyo 2020, the Israeli team under Vigdorchik's direction came in 6th place. In addition, Israel's Linoy Ashram won Israel's first ever gold in the rhythmic individual all-around competition, which was something unheard of because it was always Russia who swept off all the golds, but the country's favorite, Dina Averina, was left with silver, while her twin actually fell to the 4th place, despite being a medal challenger. Russia also did not take this defeat lightly. Everyone, including Averina and the Russian Olympic Committee president, Stanisław Podmokov, discredited Ashram's competency by blaming it on unfair judging. This is enough to judge Ira's competency. There was a reason she coached the team for more than a decade, and also why rhythmic gymnastics was Israel's most successful Olympic sport during that time. It was also under her guidance that Israel's team managed to grab more than 20 medals at competitions around the world. This included a European bronze medal and a silver medal the same year in the World Championships in 2014, and more silver and bronze medals at the 2016 European Championships. Apart from this, the indomitable Ira also led the team to the Olympic final in 3 games, then finishing 6th in Beijing 2008 and Rio 2016 while coming 8th in London 2012. Next, controversies she was involved in. Vigdorchik is no stranger to controversies and had been involved in many in her term. The latest altercation she was a part of went viral just a month before the 2021 Tokyo Olympic Games, which included her commenting that Israeli individual gymnast Linoy Ashram has no class. In 2016, after the Rio Games, or more accurately before the Games took place, there were some headlines criticizing Vigdorchik's brutal practices during training. It came to light that Vigdorchik had reportedly kicked gymnast Viner during training before a World Cup event in Kazan, Russia that July. She denied the accusations, but the IGA was sent a letter by the parents of the gymnast claiming she had repeatedly abused them, both verbally and physically, and also was known to consume alcohol during training and competitions. The IGA looked into Vigdorchik's conduct obediently and came to a conclusion that she could continue to be in charge of the team's preparations for the Olympics, but it's it's going to be other coaches, Lavrov, Ira Igor, and choreographer Ayelet Zusman will be doing the actual coaching in the gym. After the team's performance in Rio, where it came out 6th with a combined score of 34.883 points, Vigdorchik expressed her desire to continue her coaching for 4 more years and rebuild the team before Tokyo 2020 came up. Vigdorchik wasn't readily offered a new contract by IGA's new chairman, Rafi Peled, but after about a half a year, it had become obvious that the only person who had applied for the job was Vigdorchik. Hence, her position was renewed. But there was a slight change. After she withdrew the rhythmic gymnastics team from a couple of important competitions, citing their incompetence as the reason, the new chairman decided that instead of firing her, she could be made the association's rhythmic gymnastics professional manager, a post that was made specifically for her, which, in simple terms, did not allow her to the coach directly. Things got rockier after that, but knowing this fact, it was no surprise that she left the team as soon as her contract was done. Most recent affair she was involved in was her unprecedented tape recording scandal, which came to light a month before Tokyo 2020. These recordings were revealed in an edited and short video that was making rounds online in the English language. It consisted of a conversation between her and 2 other people whose identities remain hidden. During the exchange, Vigdorchik called Russia's coach Ira Viner names, saying that she was guilty of manipulating the judges and that she should do a home inspection. She also defamed the art of rhythmic gymnastics and also threw shade at Israel's most successful gymnast, Linoy Ashram, saying things like she has no class. This discussion on what to be done about this was postponed in lieu of the games in session, but Vigdorchik and Ashram's responses were not obtained by the press. There's also some news about the next games that will be held in 2024. Let's move on to that. Now for the Olympic 2024 flag. As aforementioned, when the flag was first unveiled in 2019, fans were not happy, to say the least. The illustration consisted of the signature Olympic flame, a gold medal, and the hair and lips of Mariam, which personified France in 1789. It was the sign of liberty, equality, and fraternity. The flag started getting more hate as of recently, with people commenting that it resembles a dating app or just a Karen. Others mocked that it looked like Victoria Beckham or Rachel from Friends. Next, the surfing event will break a record. When most athletes descend on Paris, some will actually be landing on the other side of the world, quite literally. The organizers of the Games and the International Olympic Committee came to a decision that Tahiti, an island in French Polynesia located in the South Pacific Ocean, will be the site of the surfing competition. This island is found to be about 9,800 miles from Paris, making it the furthest medal competition be held that far away from the host city at the Olympics. A record will be broken before the games even begin. The public running the marathon course. The marathon event will have a unique vibe this year because for the very first time in the history of the Olympics, the public will be allowed to run the marathon course. There are, however, 2 things that must be adhered to. 1, the Olympic or elite runners will run at a different time than the public runners. 2, these public runners, composed of amateurs in the audience, won't be getting medals unless they qualify for the Olympic race. Still, this is a pretty good addition to the games and will give average runners a chance to feel like they're in the Olympics by running the course on the same day of the event. Next, Paris, the 3-time host of the Olympics, at long last. The decision about who to host the 2012 Games was a tough one. It was either London becoming the first city to play host to the Summer Olympics 3 times or Paris. Like we all know, it was London who came out victorious. 12 years later, Paris will finally be joining London and becoming a 3-time host. It'll mark 100 years since the last time the French city had the Olympics, the last one being the 1924 Games. But there is actually an interesting story behind how Paris was selected. When bidding first began for the 2024 Olympics, 5 cities came out to the surface as candidates: Paris, Los Angeles, Hamburg, Rome, and Budapest. The latter 3, however, pulled out, leaving what seemed to be a terrific bidding war between Paris and Los Angeles. The International Olympic Committee knew that they were both strong candidates and also the best choices for the Olympics in 2028. And so, after working with organizers from Paris and Los Angeles, they came to a compromise. Paris was awarded the 2024 Olympics, and LA was chosen as the host city for 2028. 2028 will be Los Angeles' year of joining London and Paris as 3-time host cities. That's all we have for you today. Bye.